NRG, and I think most pro teams who have had to play NRG in best of 5s, best of 3s in the past can admit it's very hard to keep them away from your strats.
Yeah, Emil's still looking here very confident on the play cam. He's not too worried about this set so far. He's still laughing, still having a good mindset here.
Looks like you were right about the Odin ban coming out from NRG. They didn't want to deal with him, but Ares is still possible up in the air, and Rival not too different. Robin and Raijin banned out respectively.
So NRG take the Sylvanas here that was banned out last game. I guess it is a kind of key point of their strategy here. They're really happy that they get to pick it, and I'm actually surprised by how fast these bans were going through. I'm sure that both teams are actually very, very aware that this is exactly what they wanted to do.
Exactly.
And it's good to see such confidence from both sides.
Just makes you a little curious for Rival because they do have the option now if they wanted to look for a top-tier hunter such as the Amuz and Cobb or the Uller and combine it with maybe a jungler selection as well. But I would anticipate that Ice might just try to hold his off to see what Adapting's trying to run towards first.
Rival's forefront is definitely their team fights. How, as NRG, do you focus on zoning? Do you focus on bursting, maybe taking someone out of the fight like a Naja? What do you do to take away that team fight power that they have?
NRG themselves are, if I do say so myself, not too bad team fighting. They can really show up. I think you need to grab the better team fighting comp. I think last game they did, in that sense, in that regard, they just got outdrafted. Either that, or you just try and win before the team fights happens, which was kind of the way it was going for NRG. They had the early pressure, they got some good kills in the goal lead.
An Athena pick, which is surprising because I believe Rival banned out Athena last game.
This isn't a guaranteed support selection either for Rival. This could potentially be a flex pick for Athena jungle. And if that were the case, then Rival does have an opportunity to maybe run a double hunter composition.
This does also enable the famous Ares solo. So the way it works, Athena will babysit the Ares for the first couple of levels. So Athena could go to Kalas, Osiris go to Ice Baby, and then Ares solo could be in Deathwalker. But I'm not quite sure if that's actually what they want to do.
Yeah, have we seen? Oh yeah, I mean we have seen Deathwalker play Ares before, so that's not too much of a surprise.
I think it really depends on what Maniac Soul Lane is going to be here.
Another Circuit coming out
I'm going to have to get
for
my
adapting.
hands dirty again.
I don't have any disagreements with the Circuit either. Like I was saying earlier, he seemed as though he was working really excellently into the backline. He was forcing a lot of actives early on. It just didn't transition so well as the game progressed because there wasn't enough follow-up damage to actually take out those kills.
Yes, Poseidon coming out for Rival in the mid lane.
Poseidon is a character that is working really well against Circuit if he's not the one getting engaged on, placing the Whirlpool below for the cripple, always guaranteed to be a nuisance. Athena taunts into the Whirlpool with a Gem of Isolation is for a lot of crowd control here. So if this team comp does get into the later stages, it's great. Or if they actually look for early picks onto maybe the Sylvanas or maybe the Uller if they can get the beats from him, Poseidon can do a lot of work here.
We see Xing Chen, AMC, and Sobek banned out, and finally it is Erlang Shen, who wasn't picked or banned last game.
Erlang Shen here just to ensure that Rival doesn't double down too hard on the early pressure of the solo lane. Osiris Erlang being one of the premier duos for early clear and pressure.
Man, you know, you got to give it to Rival. They're very confident in themselves. They don't care about the meta.
There's already just so much control though from Rival. It is a particularly nasty combination between the Athena and Poseidon. Last time we saw it was actually at Super Regionals, and anytime they get to run this, it's just the non-stop spam. Kalas, if he's running Athena, will most likely prioritize that cooldown reduction again, just because he wants to have it as often as possible.
Osiris as well hit multiple like 3 or 4-man stuns. Ooh. Are we going to get the Turtle King?
I don't think it's going to happen, really.
I don't think the audience does either. You could hear them cheer and then kind of wane back a little bit. No.
No, Kabrakan here. So the Erlang ban, very smart here. Seeing how Erlang is not on the table anymore, Kabrakan can Tremor all day, all long, all he wants. So he's going to be able to be just fine in that solo lane here. Morrigan hovered.
And relatively early. That way you just have the stacks on stacks because Osiris, along with his tether, Hachiman has a slow as well on his ultimate, and then the Athena taunt kind of just brings everything together.
All right, we've already seen Rival take game 1. Who do you got for game 2?
This Rival composition is nasty. I would have to favor their crowd control.
Demi?
I think the Kabrakan can just go completely ham in this if you can find the Poseidon repeatedly, can find the Nemesis, the locking cage being really useful here. I think this could go in NRG's favor as well.
Whew. All right, it looks like the analysts are split. It is game number 2, everyone, of Rival versus NRG.
Thank you, Kelly. Here in game number 2, you know, we see the circuit for the second time.
Yeah.
We see the bracket for the first time. What I liked about this one was that the analysts also seemed like they were talking about a whole lot of things. For me, all eyes on the Morrigan.
Yes.
If Yaman can make this work, and if Yaman can really do what he needs to, we're tied up after this game.
This is his staple pick here in Season 4. He's just been doing so much work with this goddess, and that's very scary for a rival to have to worry about Yaman going in stealth in the late game, trying to find somebody slipping. And not only that, he can literally transform into anybody he wants. So going for a tanky Deathwalker, going for adapting, maybe finding a double last breath. That would be really annoying for rival.
Yeah, I mean, annoying, sure, but Rival has proven that they can really play with pretty much whatever they want to do.
It's very difficult now, and I love the idea behind picking Wolfie, Poseidon, trying to counter this pick of adapting, going to get 2 times in a row. But also, look at the build here from Yaman, going for this Rainda's Mask. There's going to be a lot of action here early on, and not even going to wait as the mid lane Wolfie gets poked out.
Collis gets stunned out. Emilito hits him with some of the nonsense. Not going to find a kill just yet. I'm glad you brought up that Rangda's Mask. That's going to show us that NRG want to be aggressive and stay aggressive.
Uh-oh, it's Ice
right
Ice
now,
Baby,
Ice
though.
Ice Baby is the one that's feeling it. Watch the wraparound. Here comes Maniac. Nothing really to hit him with, though. Only level 1.
Yeah, that's right. Only level 1, but he did force out a very early beads from the Nemesis jungle. That's definitely not a spot you want to be in here, but Callisto, is he in range of the Morrigan? No, the stun is not going to be there quite yet. They're forced to retreat.
No,
the
this
stun from Emil!
Hero!
Oh, the shell is being used. They're going to wait it out here for a little bit. Yaman using his beast. He wants to get that first blood.
Oh, he's not going to be able to find it.
Well, but yeah, Maniac does on the right against Deathwalker, left alone in the Tremors. This level 1 Osiris couldn't escape. He didn't have the sprint. He used it trying to save Ice Ice Baby's life earlier.
The most classic situation. That is why the bracket is actually selected. Before you're able to build the boots, when you get stuck in those Tremors, you're walking backwards, basically. You just can't move.
It just feels like you're literally stuck in quicksand. It's almost the same effect as getting the Gem of Isolation on top of a Poseidon, which we might even see this game.
I mean, Wolfie does a whole bunch. Here's a second look at that one, and you can see Maniac and Adapting just basically decide to get a kill over here.
And
I'm going to look for the blue buff and then look for the control.
I think Deathwalker wanted to try to stop that blue buff from being invaded, but he went in a little too early. The blue buff wasn't truly even started by NRG quite then.
Kind of a miscommunication as well. I think that if Ice Ice Baby sits there, I don't necessarily think he gets the kill and the turnaround, but just having that presence, oh, there's 2 people here, we can't quite devote all of our resources, that might have shaded people away, but Deathwalker goes in by himself and unfortunately pays the consequence.
He wanted to get back to the lane, but he didn't look on both sides before crossing the street, and NRG definitely ran him over there for a very early first blood, and that's going to go to Maniac that's playing this Cabrakan. Normally, we're looking at a lot of early damage here from that Guardian in the solo lane, so having that extra boost of gold is going to enable him to get those penetration boots earlier.
Emil, one of the more talented players in the league, just mechanically able to really get away from that. Collins finds a nice taunt, but the 180 stun out of Emil gets him out of trouble, no problem. So NRG with the first blood, already up about 1,000 gold. So superior farming plus that first blood gonna really make NRG look good in this early game.
The experience is where it's gonna start to be a slippery slope if Rival don't contain the spread a little bit longer here as Deathwalker is about to hit level 4 while already Maniac's been sitting level 5 for quite a bit of time here. Rival do secure themselves the Oracles, and more importantly also is this disparity in the mid lane as Yaman picks up his own red buff because Vote got it from Rival's side and sitting at level 5, so he could already transform even into Wolfie to get off a Kraken here maybe.
Yeah, very impactful ultimates in the mid lane. Yaman on Morrigan obviously doing what that will do, but it's Wolfie that really needs that Kraken. NRG looking for the invade on the right-hand side. Have the timer on the speed buff, just sort of wasting time here at backs, waiting for that speed to spawn.
Rival trying to collapse here, though, thus far. Ice Ice Baby, though, he's only level 4. Adapting is level 6. The beast is being used by Ice Ice Baby. Last breath as well. They're trying to find a second kill.
There's the Kraken. Vote's going to be able to get 1. Deathwalker's going to get 2. Adapting chasing down Ice Ice on the map, but Adapting will be number 3. Vote. It's 4 minutes in, and he has the Doomlay
Great rotation from Vote. 5-man rotation protecting the speed buff. NRG was read like a book. We all know how much Adapting likes his speed buffs, and Rival punishing that aggression.
There was also a little bit of guesstimation on NRG's part, and maybe not so, but this is where I'm gonna go. The idea that Wolfie was only level 4, I'll fight a Poseidon at that buff at level 4. I won't fight a Poseidon at level 5 at that buff. So I think they thought he wasn't gonna be able to hit level 5 in time for that rotation. Surprise, Wolfie shows up, bang, it goes.
The timing just wasn't in NRG's favor. They needed to wait a little bit longer for the speed buff to respawn, which is why they started those back harpies originally, and without a few of their cooldowns, it was a nice little counter rotation from Rival. The damage done by Wolfie to start off the teamfight with that Whirlpool Kraken allowed Vote to clean it up.
Exactly, and I mean, at this point in the game, that's what you're looking for. Your Hunter just sort of getting those last hits, amplify him a little bit. Later on, we'll likely see that switch, where you'll use your mage as the last hit and all the damage done by the Hunter.
And look at the net worth difference because of the rotation from Vote. Off of those 2 kills, a 700 gold lead. That's gonna allow him also now to start working on these Devil Gloves, trying to finish it first. It's always been a race between Hunters generally to finish off that item, try to get the stacks online, and then maybe look for a bully 1v1 play.
Right, I mean, obviously, if you've got the superior lifesteal advantage, you're able to trade more efficiently. And Molino, however, 0 lifesteal, 1,000,000 lifesteal, he's going to be able to stun you and find you with that combo. So Vote absolutely has to make sure that if he's looking to tussle, that he has the beads.
Raffer wants nothing to do with that 3-man rotation from Rival, securing NRG's purple buff. Not the best buff in the world to steal, but it's still something in terms of gold and experience, allowing Vote to just still continue to separate that gap away from them. Because Deathwalker's going to just stun out Maniac here, just delaying the clear a little bit longer.
You know, I like these 2 solo laners. Deathwalker, we've spoken, you know, ad nauseum about creative guy, does what he kind of wants, but Maniac has always sort of been that player as well. He's been the European guy that really brought that North American solo lane style to his region first. Just I'm big and tanky, try and deal with me, walking at people instead of coming back and trying to peel. And that's really been the dominant playstyle that we've seen for a number of years.
It's definitely one of his go-to picks in terms of the style, right? It's an aggressive god in the solo lane, but it's not a warrior in the solo lane. And Maniac has been known for his Bolonos, his Osiris's, Kakulin, which wasn't picked or banned here in game number 2. And speaking about picks and bans also, the Uller was 6th picked in this game.
Well, I mean, for these 2 teams, there were so many other important selections. The Osiris is going to be front and center pretty much the entirety of this match. But the first pick, Sylvanas, I mean, I think that's going a little topsy-turvy.
That's a little interesting, too, trying to find a little bit of control in the jungle side. Those pulls are game-changing, though. If Raffer gets in a great spot, he also has Blink to get the nice engages with the Wrath of Terror. That's the mindset here that NRG are looking for in some of these mid-portion team fights.
Early on here, much more action than we saw in game number 1. Deathwalker stunned under his tower. Maniac's just looking to be obnoxious here and really just occupy Deathwalker's time.
Just trying to also get off a little bit of a damage check, but nice little tether from Deathwalker. He had his passive all the way stacked for the damage mitigation.
Look at that play by Rival. They held that red buff to baited NRG, and here they reap the benefit. Wolfie gets 1 kill, but backside, watch out for the rotation.
Oh, he did. Maniac was there for the cleanup. Nice damage coming out of him. He rotated between the tier 1 and tier 2. He finds a double kill onto Wolfie. Raffer sacrifices his life for the greater good, but the tower takes out Yaman. He was too aggressive. He wanted to get more stacks on the Rangda's mask.
Bad stuff, just objectively bad play by Deathwalker. He didn't make the rotation. Maniac gets there first. So Rival, I called it in the play-by-play totally. I actually really liked it. They didn't kill the red buff. They sat there waiting, holding the red buff, inviting energy in. That's a I have to talk to them later. That's a playbook call. They've done that before. NRG come in and they get the kill. What they didn't count on was Maniac coming all the way from the solo lane and getting that double kill. If Maniac doesn't get that double kill, Team Rival snowball that and probably get a Gold Fury.
Well, it's very difficult for Deathwalker to catch up, considering that the Kabrakin has that steroid ability that gives him that stun on his in hand. You also get the movement damage. But on top of that, what more importantly was Rival didn't put Raffer in combat, so he's able to blink past the engage originally from Callus, and he got a nice little double ultimate off in the back line. And then that paired up with Maniac's rotation is what allowed NRG to start off the fight well, but then they kind of let it slide with Yaman sacrificing his life.
Oh, look, here's another team rival. Here's another team rival drawn up play. 3 players hiding around the corner. There's the dash, taunt answered by the ultimate. Kraken, see you later. Wolfie making it look easy. Number 5 for Team Rival.
Yeah, and no purification beads available for him. Great timing from Rapper using his Wrath of Terror for the CC immunity, preventing that taunt originally. Rival, though, they find one pick. They don't have to worry about the Wrath of Terror from Rapper, and they're gonna go for this gold.
Wolfie is the objective secure guy. His Kraken is down. That's going to be an issue. Vote's the only one with an ultimate. When Emil, he stole it earlier in the week. Can he do it again? Right now, it's all about the team fight. Raffer left side controlled. Right side, Wolfie down.
Trying to find the damage mitigation with the Athena global pressure, but it wasn't enough. Vote falls as well. Emil is a monster. The pull coming from Raffers. Maniac finds a double kill. That's 3 dead members from Rival, and now it's NRG's turn to find the Gold Fury.
Again, another mistake by Team Rival. Taking that engagement with the Kraken down, I think is just... Totally, I want your input because I think that's the wrong choice.
It was a bait. It was not an attempt to secure the gold here. You will not secure it. Oh, hold that thought though, because Ice Baby is trying to run, but Callus with a nice double taunt. Maniac though, he's not done. He's not with the tier 2 tower. Shell is not good enough. Maniac with a 6th kill of the game.
The Portuguese powerhouse, 6-1-1. He's the one making it rain for NRG.
The confidence from him, he knows his damage. He's sitting at level 12. He has his 2nd and 1st ability maxed out, doing a lot of burst damage, and that's very scary if you're a squishy member such as Ice Baby.
And I love the way, I'm always going to mention it, I love the way he plays to the crowd. He gets his kills, he waves out on stage. I mean, this is the guy that wants to be here, loves this sort of atmosphere, going all the way back to, I mean, SK and Fnatic. Hey, you kind of knew him a little bit.
I knew him a little bit, yeah. I actually used to coach him when he was in Fnatic, still at the beginning of that Season 3 roster. He's been to all Worlds minus Season 3, so he's no stranger to this atmosphere.
And so, you know, as you said, you coached him when he was rocking orange for Fnatic. Talk to me a little bit about Maniac's attitude and why he's able to do plays like this.
Oh, hold that thought though, because Ice Baby yet again bullied away, but Maniac's mentality and playstyle, it's always for the greater good usually, but it's almost, it might look selfish in front of your screen because he's diving a tier 2 tower, but it's all calculated selfishness because there was just 3 dead members from Rival, so where's the risk? The reward is too good and the risk is there. Yaman though, he gets a kill onto Wolfie, getting 2 stacks on that Rangdas.
Now Kala's surrounded, he's gonna fall down with the ultimate.
Double.
Well, it was
That's
Yaman.
important.
It was Yaman. I thought Adapted was going to get it, finds the ultimate. Easy peasy, and NRG are off to a tear.
That is so important. Yaman, he just went from 2 to 6 stacks on that Rangdas mask. He's increasing his movement speed. He's getting more cooldown reduction. He's trying to get that movement speed and penetration online.
Vote needs to get this tier 2 tower right here. Team Rival have found themselves down about 2,000 gold. The Portal Demon isn't going to add much to the coffers of NRG, but the tier 2 tower will absolutely will. That will actually be a nicer play than getting the Portal Demon. The Fire Giant might be a different story, but I don't think we're going to see a 13-minute Fire Giant.
No, not quite yet. Vote did a great job getting the tier 1 tower on the left side, even getting the tier 2 very low here. So if left unchecked in the long lane for even about 10 seconds, that's all Vote needs is 1 wave and a few seconds.
Well, I mean, NRG have looked to be extremely dominant here, and they absolutely have. 10-5, right? Doubling the kills. 10 kills in 13 minutes? I mean, Maniac's going incredibly insane. The gold is only 2K though, Tully. What is this a big deal? Should Rival be worried?
I don't think either team should be worried here because it's still all about these mid to late game team fights. Anything can happen. We saw Rival being on the back foot towards the mid game, but all it took was that one team fight, that hot double pull from Callus, the great conservative ultimate from Wolfie's Isis, and he's still yet again going for this kind of utility style mid mage. Shoes of focus, going for Divine Ruin as well on the Poseidon. Normally a lot of players would go for Doom Orb, Pen Boots, look for those big hitting Kraken numbers, but not Wolfie. He's thinking for the team.
Sure, but I think Wolfie's job is to bring those big hitting Kraken numbers.
I agree with you here, but the more whirlpools that he can get off with the cooldown reduction, the more tricky it's going to be for adapting to get in there, the more tricky it's going to be for Emil to escape if he gets caught in that whirlpool for whatever reason. And I'm thinking like this anti-healing also to prevent Raffer's Wisps from being useful at all.
Adapting shows up, but chased out of there. Team Rival able to get the speed buff. Deathwalker jumps away. Ultimate burned. So NRG don't get the speed invade, but they do get the ultimate out of Deathwalker. Something to note, but I don't think it's a huge win.
It's not the biggest deal in the world, especially if you're not going to be trying to lean on him anyway. You're going to have those passive stacks basically fully completed once you use the ultimate. NRG now grouped up in mid lane. They're going to be getting this tier 1 tower unless Callus has something to say about it.
Emilito's going to be taunted, and then Raffer goes to the back line, making sure there's no Kraken. Raffer himself gets Kraken, taunted, walked away. Callus is low. Watch out, Maniac. Tier 1 tower down.
Forces the Aegis from Vote. Maniac now forced to retreat. It was all the little bit of a buffer as Raffer and Maniac goes in, allowing his backline to siege that tier 1 tower. 500 gold for NRG at the 15-minute mark, extending their lead a little bit more here, getting some more positioning, and that's what it's all about.
The slow bleed coming out from the defending world champions. Don't forget, this is also kind of how game number 1 started, so Rival can absolutely turn things around.
It's very possible, but NRG, look at their vision control around the mid lane. They have 2 sentry wards on both left and right. Top side mid harpies, a regular ward in between. So anywhere Rival are thinking about going from mid lane is going to be identified very quickly by NRG, and they're going to make those adaptations happen.
15:40 in the game, and NRG find themselves 2K up. Well, 2.5. And this is the beginning of what NRG want to start to do. What do they do with this 2,000 gold lead? Do they just force team fights and look for more objectives, or do they play it safe and wait for the late game?
With the vision control, they have to wait for somebody to get out of position from Rival, and I love what Adapting is doing with this build, going for Mad Guy's Blessing. The Whirlpool is so obnoxious for Circuit. You can't zigzag in, you can't use your third ability to get out, but now with that Mad Guy's Blessing, with a little bit of CC immunity is all he needs to get some damage off.
He's also going to go into the Winged Blade, another defensive item, utility item, letting him get out of some of the control.
And that's something that we saw him do last game as well with some of the slows here from Rival, especially from Deathwalker, who has horrific emblem. It's going to boost him even quicker. And that's also probably in anticipation of Wolfie picking up the Gem of Isolation.
Gold Fury brought way down low, taunting Rival in. Maniac again, lucky number 7, and Melito gets a dozen for NRG.
I'm really surprised here that Wolfie doesn't get the early Warlock Sash. A lot of damage onto Vote, though. He's forced to retreat. Here comes the counter ultimate from Ice Baby, but it's a level 11 Nemesis against a level 13 Circuit, making the rotation. And also Deathwalker, but it's too late. NRG with their second Gold Fury of the game.
Successful zoning coming out of Adapting. Love the way he just pushed into that corridor between the 2 towers, not letting anybody anywhere near what he wants to do. And so down goes the Gold Fury. Very simply, 4,600 gold for NRG.
It's a big disparity, I think, between these 2 mid laners in terms of what they're trying to do with their builds. Looking like the Spirit that Mag has completed for Wolfie. He's not gone for a resilient build with Warlock Sash. He hasn't gone for the Gem of Isolation, but instead it's Yaman that goes for a lot of damage here with the Spirit of Desolation. Also almost fully finishing off that Rangda's Mask, not even 18 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and that's the aggression we said. When you buy that Rangda's Mask, you're showing what kind of game you want to play, and NRG has absolutely delivered. Right side, Yaman is going to wrap around the back, finds a stun on the Vote. Vote's in trouble, dashes away. There's a sprint, Maniac's on the prowl. Beautiful stun by Deathwalker, but Yaman again shows Callus who's boss.
NRG find their first victim in this encounter. They even bully Vote so low that he has to back. It's not going to be a 5-on-3 around this Portal Demon, and because of this Rival, they just can't stop this Portal Demon unless Deathwalker can find something here.
No, he's going to find a stun onto himself. There's the Portal Demon for NRG. Deathwalker's very low, jumps over the wall. The Kraken's not good enough. Adapting on the
he
chase.
just sped him up instead with a Winged Blade. Maniac finds a kill onto Wolfie. Horrific. Forcing out the beats from Adapting. Yaman finds Ice Baby. Deathwalker trying to survive as long as he can, but Adapting finally securing that one. That's all they needed to find a kill there. Now, Yaman with the fully finished Rangda's mask. I think that was an unofficial, no, sorry, Vote did escape that one team fight. It was very close to being an unofficial DSI.
You know, this one is I want to give all credit to NRG, but I think Rival are beating themselves here, Tony. A number of mistakes in the early game allowed NRG to get their foot right where they wanted, and then because of that, they've just been able to ascend and climb, and NRG with this Fire Giant Death, are they? No, okay. NRG with this Fire Giant Death are just going to be that much more ahead. 8,000 gold plus the Fire Giant. NRG looking to siege the right-hand side.
Honestly, you were questioning this first pick Sylvanas from NRG, but I think that they're definitely showing its true power and potential with some of the engages. Vote trying to escape as long as he can. Maniac doing a lot of damage, forcing out that Defender of Olympus, while the rest of his team is trying to go for this tier 2 tower.
Well, Maniac should be taunted and focused here, but very tanky. The level 17 Cabrakan, 8-1-3. Oh man, what a fantastic performance for this guy.
Yeah, good luck trying to kill a Cabrakan that has Spirit's Robe after the Athena taunt. It's gonna proc, get that damage mitigation online, and with his passive auras already, you're better off trying to just go past him and find a kill on Squishy.
Maniac has been a role player for NRG the majority of the year, and every once in a while he has these breakout games, and they're so important, Anatoly, because NRG, it's Adapting's team, it's Yaman's team, it's Emel's team, but when you have the luxury of just, oops, our solo laner's 8-1-3, you can just lean back and let him do his thing.
It's very tricky for Maniac now, or rather for Rival to deal with Maniac with this kind of momentum under himself. Having the blink, having sprint, this is pure momentum. Pedal to the metal, NRG have not stopped in terms of the solo lane action.
And one of the nice things about Maniac playing with Cabrakan is a character that forces your attention. He's gonna stun one of your squishies, you have to peel him. He's gonna go ahead, drop the ultimate, you have to break down the rocks to get your squishies out. And he's gonna start going with the tremors. So you gotta deal with all that nonsense, which means the enemy team is all staring at him, which means nobody's thinking about where Yaman is, which means somebody's getting stunned by an invisible mage, which means NRG's gonna smoke.
NRG's just doing such a good job, and Rival don't have the same composition from last game. If you think about how it was the Isis kind of setting up Kalus's Ares, this time it's vice versa. Kalus playing the Athena is trying to set up Wolfie's damage. He doesn't have the highest burst damage build in the world, and I think that's where I think Rival struggled a little bit in terms of finding some of these kills, or at least securing them because of Rapper's heal over time.
Yeah, there's two things that I'm not thrilled about with Team Rival, none of which have to do with picks, but Wolfie's not thrilled about getting ulted by adapting. He'll have to slink back. Nice taunt. Kalus grabs two. There's a Kraken just on Maniac. Everybody's looking at the Cabrakan, and they just can't deal.
Kalus is able to run away under that left side. Phoenix still 5 members from NRG with Fire Giant for another 1 minute. Is going to start sieging their first Phoenix of the game. Maniacs are entering, so now here comes the extra damage.
10% on the bird right here. Jump back.
They're not going to finish it.
Rival's looking for the fight.
Triple taunt.
Huge taunt. Where's the damage? Wolfie follows up. Kalus gets a kill. Maniac is on his last breath. Kalus takes it away. And it's 3 dead for none.
This is the same exact story from last game. It was Rival on the back foot in the early mid-game portion. 22 minutes in, Rival, they fend their left side Phoenix. They find 3 NRG members. They're now going to go for their first goal fury of the game. They're only down about 7,500 to 8,000 gold here, but after this gold fury has been completed, make that only 6.5 instead.
Well, they're going to siege the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. Wolfie already walking there. Ping's coming out. Remember, Vote got half of it last time. NRG were able to go on the right-hand side of the map, so easy peasy. 1,500 in the pocket, shortening this lead even more.
The reason why NRG continued the pressure on the left was because Wolfie did not have his Kraken in that second portion of the engage. You know, there's several steps behind sieging towers, sieging Phoenixes. Step 1, bait the Kraken. Step 2, finish the siege. The Phoenix was almost baiting NRG to the point it's like, hey, look how low I am. Come and get me.
Portal Demon is the one who's saying, come and get me, and Rival says, absolutely. Down it goes, Team Rival. Half of the kills, down 4,000, by no stretch of the imagination. are they out of this one? Rival has made a living off of stealing wins from people.
I agree, and this is just more of a power spike from Wolfie specifically. His damage numbers are starting to increase. Soul Reaver finish, now working Rod of Tahuti.
And right before that engagement, I said that there were two things that were bothering me about this, and it's not necessarily about the picks. It was the build from Wolfie, which is a long-term strategy.
Yes.
That early game we were talking about it, Kraken was tickling people, so NRG were able to, okay, you Kraken, we win this team fight now. They're able to come and turn it around. Well, as the game gets and Ice Ice Baby, little to no impact, and that's an issue. As the game gets later and later, Nemesis becomes a bigger threat just by the very nature of the character, and Wolfie is going to amplify this relatively weak build with powerful items.
So you were talking about people on the up and up and the rise from Rival. We also have to look at who's coming down from NRG, and that's Maniac's Cabrakan. The later the game goes, Cabrakan loses his flavor, loses his touch a little bit. He could do the same thing that he's been doing all game when he's had this 2, 3, 4 level lead, but what is he going to do once everybody's level 20?
I mean, he's still going to be able to lock you in with the ult. Tremors are still don't want to be there, but he does become a little bit less problematic.
It was the Nemesis that you were talking about that's going to try to find more shred onto that tanky target, especially with how far out of position Maniac goes every now and then. And want this Fire Giant. It's attempt number 2 from NRG.
They're going to be very careful with this one, Totally, because last Fire Giant, Team Rival couldn't dance. This time, Rival got their shoes on.
Nice little taunt there, getting the Mad Guy's Blessing away from Maniac. Rival now could look to engage on that, potentially adapting though, still having his little bubble available. Rival needs to find a way to get that one out, but Fire Giant still being pulled, sitting at a half health. NRG, they're flirting with it.
There's the taunt onto Maniac. There's a triple ultimate coming out from Rapper, but Maniac's already dead. Both is making it happen.
Deathwalker
over the top. Deathwalker with the ultimate.
Deathwalker goes in. Yaman though, he's not on the mark is Wolfie with the Whirlpool whatsoever. So slow is Yaman as he transforms into Maniac himself.
Why?
But Rival give it up because adapting is in the backline and he finds Wolfie.
But Emil is just pounding these shots and he's already gotten a kill.
Yaman's in the back. He finds a stun onto 2. Vote's in a lot of trouble. Adapting is waiting for more fluff, but Vote finds one, gets traded 1 for 1 though to continue. Rival are in a 3-on-3 situation. Emil, he's feeling himself. He's trying to catch out Deathwalker.
And the zigzag, the kiss. Oh, but he's still alive. The wisp isn't enough. It's barely. No, he's good. Ice Ice. It's Ice Ice. It's Ice Ice. The turnaround. The slow. Adapting is safe. Totally Team Rival wins.
They got the advantage. It's a 3 for 2 at the end of the day. They hold NRG at bay. They do not allow them to secure their second Fire Giant. Rival, they're climbing back into this one.
What is it about this team? The graphs, you know what? My job is to illustrate the game. The graphs, it's so much fun to look at. That's the entire story of the game. It's all energy. From minute 1, it's all energy. And then Rival, it's almost like they decide, you know what? Time to go.
Pretty much, though, it's what happened. The 2 steps that happened was, 1, Athena taunt, getting rid of the Mad Guy's Blessing from Maniac. It also procced the Spirit's Robe a little bit longer there. So once they went in again during that little 15-second window from that cooldown, it was Ice Ice Baby's ultimate that melted Maniac. They found an early pick, and honestly, NRG could have still won that fight even 4-on-5.
It's also the katana. It's the katana. It's the katana. Playing the Nemesis when you can't catch up, you can't do anything. When you're behind, he was 0-4-4. And he's like, oh, I got to catch up to you, and there's so many slows. Now he has the katana. Ice Ice is able to change.
Maniac, he's blinking past the backline, but he's not able to find anything quite yet. Both Mad Guy's Blessing was popped, as well as that Spirit's Robe. Rival are going to definitely be looking at Maniac yet again, especially considering how fast he melted in that last encounter.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Still around the Fire Giant. Sentry Vision control going the way of Rival. I don't think NRG wants to bait out Fire Giants any longer. They're only up about 2,500 gold at 28 minutes.
I mean, I would call
basically
this
tied.
Yeah, this is a tie. Both teams neck and neck here. For me, it's about momentum at this point. Team Rival have the superior positioning around the Fire Giant. There's a taunt from Colin.
The Whirlpool, the Kraken, there he goes! Emil is dead. That's the first victim. Rival are not done yet. Wrath of Terror finding a few. Wolfie, though, he needs to survive this engagement. He's trying so hard with the Aegis. The meditation is good as well. And Rival, they're getting a second one on Maniac.
He's still alive. Wolfie barely makes it out. Vote again. 6, 2, and 5 for the Scotsman. That Portal Demon has Rival all over it. Fire Giant also looking to be hit with a purple stamp.
Can this be it? Is NRG's run over? If Rival win this game, they are only one game away from knocking out the two-time world defending champions. And if there's ever a team to knock them out, it's Rival, because they were the ones to beat them at the Spring Gauntlet, at Spring Masters. They know what it takes.
I mean, Rival and NRG, I mean, this is the rematch from, I mean, even DreamHack this year, right? I mean, watching Rival able to topple and deal what they could do. Again, late game, NRG, Yavin needs to survive. He's #1 player damage on his team. He's got to make these invisible flanks and delete Wolfie or Ice. Pick one, but you've got to get rid of him. You can say get rid of Vote, but he's just going to get on the horse and run away. You have to focus Wolfie, I think, in these scenarios. Problem is, NRG are, and he's just not dying.
That's right. It was Callus that found Emil without his relics available. That Whirlpool Kraken just doing work. This is the late game form that Wolfie needs to have for his team. Just now, finishing off Rod of Tahuti, his damage numbers are going to go through the roof.
What's really nice also about how Team Rival has been able to deal with this is Wolfie is getting focused, and then Callus shows up with the ultimate on top of Wolfie,
yes,
giving him damage reduction. But since NRG are also collapsing on top of Wolfie, they're all getting hit by Callus's ult.
That's right. Even just a Whirlpool as well, that AoE damage is going to be doing a lot. So NRG, they're just too grouped up too quickly. They're trying to find the flanks, don't get me wrong, and that thing is waiting for somebody to get out of position. But every single time, Rival are playing so well together now. They're cleaned up their mistakes from the early game. They know how to close it out here in game number 2.
And I think that might be what makes Rival so damn good, is the fact that we talk about emotional teams and squads that get, you know, up in their heads but what's the word we use? Tilted?
Sure.
Team Rival, untiltable. I mean, they lost the early game because they played poor SMITE. They just made mistakes all early game. And then for a team to come back and play this well, that's perhaps the most impressive thing.
Just think about these five players and where they were last year. Whoa. As Cyclone GG. They didn't even make Worlds, didn't even make Super Regionals either.
They got rid of Hazer, they're crushing it. I'm kidding. Please, Hazer, don't kill me. Team Rival, though. Half hour of play. NRG has 18 and the game early on. Rival have 13 and the game late. Fire Giant around Rival, and they're looking for the Phoenix.
It's now Rival's turn to find their first Phoenix Siege. NRG were unsuccessful in the long lane attempt. Can Rival be successful this time around? Trying to find engages. Callus might try to just force out the early Mad Guy's Blessing.
Look at the concentration on Callus's face. He knows
the backline, the blink, the Wrath of Terror, knock out the pull is good on to Vote as well. Here comes the Kraken, is going to secure out Rapper. That's the first victim thus far. Callus, he's forced to retreat, but he can get back into it. He has his ultimate.
He's just going to back to base, heal up, and come right on back. No reason for even NRG to think about. Look, he's just going to come.
Here he goes. Oh, he's going to engage.
I got 2 lives.
Left side, Phoenix goes the way of Rival. They're trying to find the taunt. They get Emelino. He's dead. That thing is trying to run under the fountain. Rival are 5 members strong. They're going at the Titan. They're going to secure game number 2.
Again? This is just how game number 1 ended. Maniac dies. That's going to secure it. Adaptive takes care of Wolfie. It's not going to secure it. It's not going to.
They're going to get it here. Todd, they got it.